I fractured seven vertebrae, uh, and they had to be connected with screws and rods to stabilize my back. When they found me, I was also hemorrhaging internally, and I stopped the bleeding.
Here's what's going on. And at first, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a bunch of BS until I started really digging into the research. But there is, from what some people would say, a serial killer running around Austin, Texas.
Keep Austin weird, you know?
Yeah, keep Austin. Yeah, specifically a one part of Texas, which is I think is Rainy Street. Numerous male bodies found submerged in Lady Bird Lake, which is the lake right there. It's a small lake. It is man made. I kind of looked up the history. It used to cool like this power plant type of thing,
Oh, okay, okay.
but all male, no robberies or whatever, and they all were accidental drownings or suicides. They're all Jeff's
No.
ages, our age type of and all went from the bar somewhere and ended up separated from their group and now into the water.
So, I mean, how far away is this body of water from said like bars where people are just like are stumbling in drunk
Very
potentially?
close. It's right near downtown. You could easily stumble to it. And then there's also some little rivers and creeks that lead to it from the area. So you could potentially float your way down there. A lot of the bodies aren't found for a number of days after they are just after they disappear. So it's hard to kind of identify where they came from necessarily.
Is it so when you said float down like floating down is it a body of water where people are going like tubing and that's like a they're
Yeah.
taking their coolers type thing or no,
No, it's
not one
actually, I
of
don't
those?
think you can swim in Ladybird for some reason. I don't know if it's a safety precaution or whatnot, but you can bring in smaller type boats, but no like speed boats and no swimming. So yeah, it wouldn't be something that you would choose to. It wouldn't be a body
Okay.
water you would choose to get into.
His story is number one is traumatic, but is also really important because there is something going on, a 100%. And Jeff
Yeah,
happens to be one of the
A survivor?
one survivor, and there's not many. There are a few survivors, but Jeff is one. And you can take it away, man.
yeah. So
Sorry you
uh,
had to tell the story twice
I'll
today.
go through it again. I got a rehearsal run earlier, but I was going down to Austin with a group of friends for a bachelor party. There was probably 15 or no 12 or 15 guys from around the U.S., but a
Mhm.
lot of people from here from Boston. That's where the groom is from, and we flew down there on a Thursday. The group from Boston, about six or seven of us on the same plane. Got there midday. Got to our Airbnb. We were hanging out at the pool. Things were normal. You know, we were having some drinks, but nothing too wild. I certainly remember everything, but we were staying outside the city a bit at an Airbnb that was, had a big, because there's a lot of us, so big area, a lot of rooms,
Yep.
space, pool, things like that for the
Gotcha. Okay.
weekend. So we were waiting around until everybody arrived, and then we decided to go to dinner. We went to a place called Iron Cactus for dinner, and that's where my memory really starts to pretty much go to zero. But we're behaving as you normally would, having drinks throughout dinner and after dinner, but nothing too crazy. And we then went to a bar called the Rustic Tap, and then to a bar that called Play, which is right on West Sixth Street, where a lot of these disappearances occur. The last time I saw my group was around 1 o'clock in the morning. Supposedly we were talking to some people we had made some new friends, chatting as the night goes. I was pretty much coherent, but all of a sudden they realized that I wasn't there any longer, and that they'd seen me with a few people recently, but they were people that we didn't know, and then they couldn't find me, so they called me, and I was speaking like basically incoherently on the phone. I couldn't tell them where I was or what I was doing, and then I stopped responding. They called a number of times more after that, and then my phone went dead.
Oh my god. So you don't remember So like it starts to get hazy while you're, a little after dinner. Like normal drinks is what you recall. Like you don't recall getting. It's not like you were drinking straight tequila from the bottle. Maybe you were, but like you could hit. You don't think you did anything outrageous until then,
right? At a reasonable level that we would do any other night.
And this was last year, about 9 months ago.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so this is 2023.
This is really recent.
Yeah, when I told you all those bodies were popping up. I mean, they've been popping up, but now it's an epidemic.
Yeah, if you look back, there's a lot of people who disappeared over last summer. It was a high disappearance rate.
Like just in the last year. It's not like this is over a 20-year period necessarily.
It's been happening though. If you do some research, it has been happening periodically, but it seems like the numbers are ramping up. And there's been a lot of stories of people being not necessarily, getting killed, but they end up very drunk or roofied or potentially roofied, and there's a lot of people that end up saying that they had to be dragged home and they got way drunker than they ever do, and something happened that was abnormal. There's a lot of those stories coming out of Austin. So
wow. So yeah. So you remember being at a location. You don't remember getting separated from your group of friends.
No.
And you don't even remember making these calls.
No, at that point, I don't have any real recollection. It's just from what my friends told me later on.
That's so weird. It's like, I mean, especially being in such a big group, like how would someone just, get someone, especially someone 6'3", to just kind of leave the group, I mean, honestly, it seems like it's coordinated. It wasn't one person that did this. This was a coordinated effort.
I would think that it looks more like kind of some sort of group of people who identify someone, isolate them from the group, probably try to rob them once they're incoherent, and send them on their way. Seems more kind of like that than it is a specific serial killer. It's more there's more of a criminal, function going on of some sort.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I could see the popularity of the location too, right? And it's kind of similar here in Charleston. It's a huge spring break area or bachelorette area, for that sort of thing.
Same as that area in Austin. I mean, yeah, so they could be targeting people that are already, a little easier to fool, are open to distraction.
Vulnerable, right? Distracted, drinking, all the things.
Right.
Not from around there.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so your phone goes dead after your friends are trying to call you, and you are answering the phone, so you have it at some point, but did you lose your phone or did your phone die or what happened there?
I think it just died. We had been, we'd been hanging out all day, so I assume my phone just died at some point. So anyway, my friends assume I'm okay. They figure out they'll see me in the morning, but they go back, don't hear of anything in the morning. I'm not there, so they start calling police stations and hospitals, and end up locating me at a local hospital that's pretty close to Rainy Street where we were drinking. So they come to find me. One of them actually said that he was my cousin, so that they could, because they only let family members come in, and they got in. So what they found was my side of the story, where I had basically only made it about 2 blocks from the bar that we were at, and somehow ended up at the bottom of a ravine, had fallen about 25 feet off a bridge, landed next to a river that leads down to Lady Bird Lake.
Holy shit!
Yes, it's a very wide. The bridge is about the side of the bridge is about 3 or 4 feet wide. It's an old stone bridge, so it would have been very difficult for me to. I almost would have had to throw myself off of the bridge intentionally. It's very hard to believe that I somehow fell off of it myself.
And I mean, it would have required like you climbing over something.
Right. It would have had to. I would have had to put in effort to get off of that bridge on my own.
Hey Jeff, I'm gonna show him the picture you sent me. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
This is what falling off a bridge does.
Oh my word!
I mean, you literally have contractor screws in there. Literally. I mean, It's terrible, man. This is your back, obviously. Can you tell us a little bit?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I fractured 7 vertebrae, and they had to be connected with screws and rods to stabilize my back. That was surgery that took place 2 days after the fall. When they found me, I was also hemorrhaging internally. I had punctured a lung, and my spleen was bleeding out, so they had to do emergency surgery on my stomach and remove my spleen and sewed up some things in there and stopped the bleeding. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
How are you doing now? I know I want to get back to the story, but like, how is your back and your recovery? Like, that's massive.
I know, like, very lucky that I was able to make a very quick recovery. And I actually was in the hospital. I mean, I was in an induced coma for about a week, and then had some other complications. I ended up being able to get out about 2.5 weeks later. I got pneumonia. It was a whole ordeal, but
Jesus
Oh
Christ,
my God. Damn, you are seriously lucky to be alive.
I know I was telling John, I never really contemplated my own mortality at all before this, but it really hits you hard when you realize how close I was to.
How high was the fall?
It was about 24, 25 feet. So,
Yeah.
and I also broke my scapula, which is your shoulder
Yeah.
bone. And I
Wow.
was found at about 4:30 in the morning. There was an anonymous call that they saw someone at the bottom of a bridge, and that's how they found me, which I'm so happy that someone did, but also
Wow.
a strange twist to the story, right? Like, who's finding someone at the bottom of a bridge
At 4:30 in
at
the
4 in the
morning.
morning? It's a little, yeah. So the whole story is interesting, but very, very happy that I'm here, obviously, and I've started working out again recently. I've been able to start running, and those rods are actually going to get removed in June. Shockingly,
Wow.
they don't stay in you for your life. So yeah.
So
Well, that's great.
he did have tests done, like toxicology. Do you want to talk about that? I have your report here. I can bring it up too.
Yeah, I sent you over what I found. So they did a tox report, and I didn't have any drugs in my system except for a benzo, which is basically the rufalin is in the
It's like
benzodiazepine family.
GHB.
Holy shit. So they did find something.
So I
in you.
was drugged.
He was drugged.
Holy shit.
He was definitely
All right,
drugged.
you know for a fact you didn't have
Some-
one too many or mixed
right.
drinks.
So yeah, so officially somebody did something to me.
Andalyn asked a good question. Maybe you can answer, Jeff. Were you robbed as well?
No, and that's an interesting twist to the story. There was nothing taken from my person. So that is odd. The only thing that you could theorize that if they were throwing me off this bridge because they thought I was overdosing or they thought something was wrong with the situation, at that point you don't necessarily want to rob the person because that makes it a criminal investigation if they find me dead and robbed.
There you have all the accidental drownings.
Shit.
All of the guys found in the lake, they all had their wallets on them.
Right.
Therefore, accidental is not robbery. So if the guy's doing this, let's say it's to rob someone, if Jeff luckily survived, but if he didn't, they would leave his money. So the cops wouldn't open a criminal investigation. Jeff actually alerted me to that. That's very smart thinking. I mean, you think about this all the time.
But it does make sense. Yeah. And I like I said, I landed, I would say 5 feet from a river that I would have obviously drowned if I was in that condition and floated down to Lady Bird. So
Which
like
is their spot, right? Like
this spot. Yeah.
It almost sounds like that's how that might be the pattern of that exact location if it will feed right into Lady Bird.
The bridge. Because a lot of guys aren't found for a week later. I've been seeing.
Right. So
drowned and dead. And a lot of the deaths, the medical examiner says that they're drowning because the water in their lungs and so they're basically drowned.
Right. I would have probably died from drowning. That would have probably been the cause because I would have been
right.
And then they would have said it was a suicide because that's what the APD's doing. They're saying all of these cases are a suicide.
Wow.
Jeff, I want to show you something right quick. This isn't This isn't Austin Lady Bird Lake. This is in Chicago. I was telling you about this. Check this out. This is in 2022. These are how many people have died just in this one area in 2022, and they're all men except one, it looks like, but every one of them are men, just like in the Lady Bird case.
Were they all all around,
The lake
our
area.
age, all
Mhm.
around? Were they all people?
Yeah, just normal people at the bars,
Yeah,
normal
that's
people at
what
the bars.
like they were all kind of out and about. And that's how they were.
Yeah. So here's
Kind of target.
this is speculation, but this is kind of what we're thinking, or at least I'm thinking. It is maybe an organization like a cartel doing something like this, but they pray. There's different spotters. Like, let's say they'll have someone in the bar looking for a guy. It's always a guy that may have some money, that they could steal. Someone drugs them somehow. It may be the bartender doing it. It may be something else. I've seen in one report that people are vaping. If you accept a random vape from somebody, some of those are rigged with the GHB and stuff like that.
Oh,
They separate
I
you.
would not have ever thought of that.
They separate you, and then someone on the outside takes over where there's no cameras. Still to this day, there's no cameras.
Yeah, that's what Jeff's sister just commented. He was found in an area that had no cameras. All down West 6, there are cameras except where he was.
I mean, cameras are not expensive these days.
No.
You would think the Austin PD would put up cameras.
Why would you leave a blackout area?
Here's one
especially with the number of bodies that are being found.
And like I said, it's not even 2 blocks from where the last bar that we were at. It's not like I went far.
Yeah. Sometimes this does happen, like the chief of police, like they don't want 20 murder raps on their docket, right? No one's going to come to Austin and party anymore.
Yeah.
And go and visit the town, but at the same time,
it's easily solvable. Even if they didn't want to come out and say that there's a gang, killers, whatever, putting up the cameras in that location would solve a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they may, I just saw a comment there that the culprit would have to know that there's a lack of cameras there, but they could easily know that, right? It might be specifically why they take people there.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like they're, cameras are, you can spot them anywhere unless it's a mannequin.
Yeah.
Do you think it was, because I mean, you're a big dude, and you have your drink. I mean, I'm the same way. I kind of keep it with me. You're probably holding it in your hand the whole time.
Typically hold on to it, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, how would someone get it in there? I mean, we know they did. You got the Tox report to, say it, but
right.
That makes me kind of think it might be a bartender.
I read that too, and I hadn't thought about that, but I guess, that could be. There's something I guess Austin is unique in that you can be a bartender. Basically, you get a license to bartend at multiple bars. So if there's an opening at one bar one night, you can move to that.
Oh, that's screwed up.
Yeah, so a lot of bartenders, they might not actually know the people that well. They're just there for the night to fill in or whatnot. So could be that, and maybe we were sitting or standing at a table and I set it down or went to the bathroom. And, I won't, like I said earlier, I won't say that I'm super careful with my drink. I do typically hold it, but I'm not really on the lookout for somebody trying to roofie me. I should be. I mean, I guess I should be now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that they got you away from your whole party, which if you were just with one person, it may be harder to pull someone away. But you said you were with 16 people?
Yeah, 12 or 15.
12 or 15?
A lot of guys.
Jesus, man.
I think that almost might be easier though, right? Because if you're with a single person or 2 people, that you have an intimate conversation.
Yeah.
If you're a huge group, everybody's mingling and talking to the group and that group and splitting
off. It's easy to
off.
lose track of one.
Or
to assume one's with somebody else, right? Like, oh, he must be over there with my other buddy.
Oh yeah, Jeff must be with Brad. Yeah, everything's fine.
Right.
So what's your life like now? Because this is, I mean, Like I told him earlier, it's an honor speaking to you because you survived this horrific ordeal, and also a lot of guys. There are probably more survivors, a lot more, but they're scared to come out, and it's very brave of what you're doing right now.
Or to even think too of like what could have actually happened,
Yeah, no shit. Oh
Maybe
my
not
God,
everybody
dude.
got a toxicology report to prove some of
Exactly.
this stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's a lot of people don't get tested, right? So you never even know. But
Damn.
no, I really appreciate that. It actually, I obviously it's been a while. It happened 9 months ago, and I really initially didn't want to talk about it or think about it. A lot of my friends were like, "Let's go down there and figure out who did this to you. Let's
Yeah,
start an investigation. The police. We don't need the police."
that would be me.
And so many people were reacting that way, which I mean, I appreciate it. I know that's the way they're showing their love. But at that time, I was so overwhelmed, I just didn't even want to
Yeah.
think about it. But really, what got me going again was early last month in February, they found another guy in the same place in the same
Wow.
scenario, and I just said, you know what, if there's anything I can do to help, I don't. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't remember much, so I can't identify anyone, but I can at least tell my story of where I was and how it went down and the timing of things, and maybe they can correlate some things together to try to connect dots and figure out if there's something they can do to stop this from happening to someone else.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
One of the guys, Jason John, 30-year-old, this was February 5th, 2023, wee hours in the morning. Now he's deceased, but the last time he was seen, it was by a Good Samaritan, and he was at the lake vomiting violently. So it's did you feel any? Do you know if you vomited or anything, or had intense sweating? Because this guy was most likely drugged, and then he was found obviously in the lake a week later. The medical
Jesus.
examiner says it was classified as accidental, but we know. I
I'm
mean,
not sure. I may have. I don't know if there was any vomit on me at the time. I'm not sure. I
Mm.
almost think there was, but I'd have to go back and ask my sister, who's a nurse, who came down and was kind of my savior for the whole period while I was there.
yeah. Oh, so
Yeah.
you stayed in Austin for your whole medical treatments?
Yeah, I was there for 2.5 weeks,
Oh, God, the worst
which I
last
just
place I want to be.
dude, it
You
was
know.
hell. I mean, all I wanted to do was go home. That's my sister. I was every day. I was like, I think we're good now, right? Let's can we just get it? I want to go out of here.
Oh my
I
God.
don't blame you for
Terrible.
that.
Jesus.
Well,
Locked
Megan
me in bed.
had said a couple of comments too, like it's happening. Something similar seems to be happening in New York City. And she also had shared there is that Austin notoriously has an under-resourced police department.
Oh.
So that might be another reason
As
why they're
well.
not looking to call attention
Mm-hmm.
to this problem, right?
I mean, what can we do? I mean, you know what I was thinking earlier. This is what they should require in Austin. They should put up if their bar, the decedent was the last seen at their bar. They should put photos of the people, and it's like this guy was last seen here. To just to
Information.
warn people.
Well,
Right.
of course they're not going to do that.
I know they're
though.
not going to do that, but it's still like,
I think there should be some responsibility if
oh yeah,
I've seen at your establishment, you either overserved them
yeah.
or somebody did something illegal to them at your establishment. So
Mm.
And in most cases, it's probably, I'm telling you, I think a lot of guys wake up just completely like, what happened? And then they have no money, their bank accounts are withdrawn. So in most cases, it seems like it goes smoothly, so to speak.
right.
But it's
The
only
operating
these,
report. Yeah.
yes, it's only these cases where whoever was doing this, I'm just speculating, but they're like, oh, Jeff, this guy he's convulsing. Let's just throw him off this bridge,
So your theory
dude.
on this is it's not necessarily someone looking to drug someone, throw them off the bridge.
It's not a serial killer.
Right.
because there's
That just
Right.
might be an unfortunate outcome occasionally when their plan goes south.
Yeah.
They have a plan B.
Again, I'm truly sorry this happened to you, but also,
Like-
geez.
so
Well,
glad
thank you.
you're
I
okay.
feel very lucky to be alive, and I'm trying to live life to my fullest now because I kind of almost feel like I got a second chance, So
Jesus.
Heck
Glad
yeah.
to be around. I got some cool scars to show the ladies now.
You could get your scars, make a cool tattoo out of your scars. I know somebody that had brain
Thought about
surgery
that. I
and
honestly
had
did
done something with
Yeah.
his like
want to
head.
make it like a cool like
Yeah.
train track or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Wire
There
maybe.
you go. You can
Yeah.
you can do something pretty cool with it. I'm sure it looks pretty rad. You've got some serious street cred from that. But damn, I cannot get over that.
Survived death, man. 25 feet. Jesus.
Damn.
Holy
I
shit.
I do not like heights, so yeah, I can't even imagine. Yeah, it's
I
pretty-
mean,
Yeah, no,
what was
no kidding.
what did your family? They were probably like, "Oh my god, no!"
yeah, it was. I mean, my family and my friends were amazing. Like I said, my sister was there the whole time, and then just she took off work. She's an OR nurse actually, and
Mm,
was able to. I was able to stay at her place for the next month after I got home before I could go back and live on my own. So that was great.
jeez,
My
man.
friends were all there to support. A few of them came down, including Megan, who's on the line here, with her boyfriend, who's my friend, and also, a group of people started a GoFundMe to help pay for my sister, as lost in salary while she was taking off work to support me,
Oh.
and all the
Awesome.
legal bills that are all the medical bills, obviously, that add up. So
And she
we got through
says
it.
on the light. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Can you read what she says after he's done? Sorry.
Jeff's fall was so incredibly severe, his life was hanging in the balance on life support. For days, he lost his spleen, had 3 surgeries, went in acute respiratory distress. As I flew down, I didn't know if he was alive. Damn.
Jeez. You have some great family members, I can already tell.
I do. I had a huge amount of support. My parents didn't come down, but they're older. They don't fly too much, so
Yeah.
they were supporting me the whole time. And no, I really really blessed that the support that I had. I don't know that I could have done it without them, but I also was when I came to and I figured out what was going on, which took me about a day or two. I was
Jesus
determined
Christ.
to get out of there and survive. So still here.
Jesus.
This
Okay.
story is intense, man.
So is there a lot of media attention around Lady Bird Lake right now?
It's all
What's-
suicides and drownings.
So for right now, like we're gonna be the ones pushing this one forward.
I mean, this isn't, no, I didn't find this case.
No, I know somebody requested it.
Yeah, it's, our friend Shram on here. She's also like our PR person. She found it on TikTok.
I think Martin also requested this story. He said,
Yeah, and because
"Gotta give Martin credit where credit is due."
people are thinking that there's a serial killer, and I knew that wasn't the case. I mean, number one, there's like all the bodies that were found, they're not they weren't sexually assaulted, because we've done cases like that
Right.
where and it's all guys. That's the first thing you would think of, and a lot of them, they weren't robbed, stuff like that. There was like no clear MO.
I do still think it's kind of a head scratcher to me that men are the ones being targeted. It's just due to like it's
Right,
not
yeah.
easy.
Sure, you would think it would be potentially easier to
Target a female, a young female at a bachelor.
5 foot tall female rather than a 6'2",
Yeah.
So that is interesting. But
And-
I also think that this drug that's becoming more common now that's being used is so strong that it's not like they're dealing with me anymore. They're dealing with
Yeah.
like a zombie.
Yeah.
So
Jesus Christ, dude. A 6'3" zombie. Holy Jesus. It,
sounds dangerous.
I mean, yeah, it's like I still question like that seems difficult, but
they better be glad you didn't come too, man. You would have. Oof.
I know, right? They didn't give me any uppers. They're making sure that wasn't going to happen.
yeah, no shit.
And-
Jesus.
Megan says, and Amy is an absolute queen.
Is that your sister? Is Amy your sister?
Amy's my sister. Yeah.
There
that's
you
it.
go. We had to make sure we shout.
A lot of our supporters on live chat are probably thinking, is this guy single or?
Trying to like, who's up in Massachusetts still?
Jesus. Well, man.
Shram had said that a lot of us that are looking into these cases, there's an alarming amount of jokes and backlash towards them being male victims. That's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, and there's a lot of what I've seen on there's some Facebook groups where people talk about it. That's actually how we connected here, John and I. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, it's some sort of closeted gay thing," and these guys are sneaking off. But I'm just like, I don't know how this even is. First of all, I'm completely heterosexual, so I know that wasn't the case here. But I also don't know how that's even. Why is that even
Because
tied to this? Just because we're all guys?
yeah, because you're but then
Yeah.
you look at the autopsy report and there's no sexual trauma to anything,
Mm-hmm.
so that gets ruled out. But also the GHB. Well, we've done quite a few serial killers where that's the MO. They'll basically, Stephen Port, the guy in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
What's the guy in Canada? I can't remember his name. But yeah, they would exact same thing. This guy in Canada would GHB men, and this was at gay bars. That's why I had asked earlier.
That might be the
Um,
time is that it's happened previously.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
they see all men doing this, but this is something
Nothing
that
to do
we've
with
never
it.
seen before. It seems like it's not just one person, it's many people doing this, and they're all kind of in
And it
it
could
together.
be the multiple cities could just be different groups who figured out, hey,
Yeah.
we can use this drug and completely incapacitate people.
Yeah, because we did a story where, and this is happening a lot too. Um, what do you like? Women of the night prostitutes and even strippers. They'll fentanyl their
Mhm.
clients, get them all screwed up, and then steal their money. And we did that one where she actually did it and killed 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
3 Johns from doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing, just using fentanyl instead of GHB, but. I mean, and also I got to mention real quick. I saw that one of the biggest GHB underground dealers was in Houston. It was masquerading as a fireworks operation, but they were distributing GHB and this new stuff called GDO or something. It's like stronger and it gets out of your system right there in Texas.
Right, which leads you to think, yeah, that maybe that's why the uptick, just because the drug is so much more available now.
Yeah.
Drugs like it.
So it's very brave what you're doing, man, because I'm telling you, a lot of guys wouldn't want to do this, but this is why you do it, because now people are going to come out and be like, you know what, this also happened to me.
Yeah,
This happened to
Or
me.
I was robbed and don't remember what happened. There's
Yeah.
like going to be some other version of the story.
More people definitely need to hear about this, 100%, because especially if you don't know, if you're a college kid and you haven't heard of this, dude, you're so vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I mean, that's what I was saying to you earlier when we were talking, that I have a cousin who's going to school down there, and he's a tough 20-year-old guy, and he said he won't even go out alone at night because you never know what's going to happen. So I think
Wow.
it's weird because it's a very popular tourist destination.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
goes there because it's fun and a lot of bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, but then at the same time it has this weird dark side to it. So it's
Your sister had commented, interestingly, as I waited in the ICU for him to wake up, doctor after doctor and nurse after nurse told me, quote, men aren't safe in this city. They should never walk alone.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Men,
Wow,
you know,
yeah.
Jesus. It's because it's usually women. Like we do these stories.
It is
And
odd.
it's like everywhere, yeah.
Well, why would you? And why wouldn't it be men and women? Whoever is vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right. Like there is something going, they're noticing a pattern. I'm sure they see it all the time being in the hospital that,
They see it. Yeah. They
yeah.
see the survivors and the non-survivors. So
Jeez.
One thing I want to say or add, I stalked you on Facebook. Obviously, I PM'd them, or was it DM or whatever, about the interview. But you had been asking.
yeah.
You got on the Facebook group, the Lady Bird group, and you made a post. Hey, is there anyone else? Basically, is there a support group? Did anyone reach back out to you?
I mean, a lot of people said, "Hey, so sorry for what you went through. You're a survivor," but I didn't get anyone except yourself, and I did get one other gentleman who said, "Please DM me. I lost my son in Austin last summer."
Oh, jeez. Oh my God.
Wow.
I haven't heard back from him. Actually, I did DM him. I said, "I'm so sorry for your loss. I'd be, happy to talk to you anytime." But I looked through his Facebook page, and he did lose his son last summer, who was a 30-year-old male. So same place.
That's
Found him in
terrible,
LA.
man.
Jeez.
Yeah. So heavy stuff, and that's why I would just hope that I can help someone's family not have to deal with waiting, multiple days and then finding out that their son's never coming home.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
I know how hard it was on my family, and I'm still here, so I can't even imagine that happening just out of the blue like that to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I really appreciate that you did decide to kind of come forward and reach out to folks and offer your help. I do think it will make a difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it can only help, at least somehow to get the information out there and start a dialogue. Maybe more people like you were saying, John, maybe there's more people who will say, hey, I showed up drunk in my bed, didn't know what happened, lost all my money. Just at least maybe start correlating some stories to find where the group is, who they might be, try to identify some people who are involved with it, and then take down the ring if there is the hypothetical crime ring out there. But I really think there must be something.
Absolutely. There is no question in my mind. You've got the proof from your toxicology report.
Right. I was obviously 100%. Charged with something. Right.
Jesus.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff.
Jesus,
damn.
Man.
Oh my God. I cannot get over your story. So I'm so glad that you're here. Love the Boston connection. Always good to have another friend in the mix. And if you ever come to the Charleston area, definitely
love to come down there. It's
come join us.
I have like I said, I have some friends, a few family members down in the area. So we'll have to grab a drink sometime.
All right. Thanks, Jeff, so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.